104.7 WONK-FM.
Coming up on October 7th at 4 p.m. for 1 full hour, hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce on this Thursday, is the Next Gen Town Hall, Amplifying Young and Informed. You can hear from students and alumni representing historically black colleges and universities and minority-serving institutions as they engage in robust dialogue discussing key issues facing America. Here to talk about that is Rick Wade, who is a Senior Vice President for Strategic Alliance and Outreach at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and also Virgil Parker is a 2021 graduate of Howard University, a Fulbright Scholar and Project Coordinator in Rick's department. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Rick, why don't we start with you? Can you start by telling us about the U.S. Chamber's Equality and Opportunity Initiative and Next Gen Business Leaders Program?
Yeah, you bet, Dennis. The Equality of Opportunity Initiative is a very bold, ambitious initiative. Following the murder of George Floyd, which we all witnessed, we saw companies across America step up and stand up and make announcements and investments and pronouncements around addressing inequality in America. Well, so did the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, by the way. We're the largest business organization in the world. And so we convened over 6,000 CEOs and other business stakeholders for a dialogue after the murder of George Floyd. What is the role of the private sector? What should we be doing more of, right? And we announced a very broad historic initiative called the Equality of Opportunity Initiative. And it does two things. It advances policies that seek to address inequalities in areas like education and unemployment, health, criminal justice, wealth, et cetera. And we're working with members of Congress. We're working with state legislators through our state and local chambers to address these policy issues at the state and local and federal level. The other part of it is, what are the things on the private sector side that companies should be doing independent of policy? And one of the initiatives that we're so excited that we built even before George Floyd, but we've expanded, is called our Next Generation Business Partnership. It's an initiative with historically black colleges and universities and other minority-serving institutions to develop the next generation of diverse business leaders. And so we're excited about that. And there are many other initiatives connected to that, growing and expanding opportunities for black and minority-owned businesses. We announced an initiative called the Board Accelerator, where we're committing to identifying and preparing and connecting more black and other people of color on corporate boards. So there's a whole lot of that kind of work that, we can do independent of policy, and it's the role and responsibility of business. But we're to talk about our amazing Next Generation Business Partnership and upcoming town hall.
Virgil, let's do that. Let's get some specificity with the Next Gen Town Hall to be held this Thursday at 4 p.m. for 1 full hour. Tell us a little bit more about it, Virgil.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Dennis, thank you for having us on, and thank you, Rick, for his comments. So the Next Gen Town Hall is one of the first platforms to get young people involved in all of the content that Rick was just discussing. When you work with leaders on resolving solutions and addressing racial disparities to these problems we see in the public policy areas across America, we want to ensure that people also engage young leaders, particularly those from minority-serving institutions, when it comes to forming solutions. So that's exactly what this is. Myself, as well as one of my counterparts, Julia Sagi, both of us, we're alumni of the Next Gen program at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be speaking to other Next Gen students from this previous cohort about some of the public policy topics. We're going to be covering entrepreneurship and wealth, and how those two are connected, as well as education and employment, and getting the perspective on how we can address racial disparities in those areas. And what's valuable about this is that these students are going to use data points and speak to this from an authentic standpoint to give a relative solution.
And Virgil, why don't you expound on that a little bit and the importance to amplify the voices of young people on these critical issues?
Absolutely. I mean, when we think about it, everything that we're doing as leaders is building a society and a nation where our children and young people can be able to function. So given the fact that young people are informed, they're very intellectual, they're very creative and very outspoken, we should engage these young people in trying to develop the world and the society in which they want to function. So this is an opportunity from that. From a policy perspective, from the private sector perspective, investing in young people, giving them the relevant platform, giving them the relevant tools to be successful, and hearing from them as we form solutions on critical basis. This is what this represents, and this is something that we encourage the counterparts of the chamber and other leaders to do going forward.
Rick, I noticed that Brett Hart, the president of the United Airlines, will be joining you for a fireside chat. Why is this conversation significant, and what will you talk about with him?
Dennis, Bret Hart represents what I really want, these amazing next generation scholars and these students that we'll be talking to in the town hall to aspire to become. And Bret is just an amazing example of a success story. Here's a guy who grew up in a small southwestern Michigan town, by no extraordinary means and so forth. And he's now become the first African-American president of a major airline, United Airlines. And so he's gonna talk about his story and how he got there, and hopes again that we can inspire these young people in this town hall and across America to be like Bret Hart, and to be a corporate CEO, to create jobs and to bring wealth, advance wealth and investment back into our communities. And one of the most exciting things that Bret is leading at United Airlines, I mean, they've announced their goal to train, some 2,500 pilots who are women and people of color over the course of the next several years. What a real commitment to advancing equality, to make that type of an investment. And a lot of that partnership will be with HBCUs and other minority serving institutions. So Bret is an amazing, inspiring guy. He's become a friend, and we look forward to talking with him in a fireside chat so that he can tell his life story.
Rick, this is a big question, and we could take an hour up just talking about this, but talking about the role of corporate America in creating opportunities for students of color. Just talk about that, please.
Well, it's extremely important. I mean, when you think about the reality that you take just historically Black colleges, they confer some 17% of all of the bachelor's degrees to Black students in the United States. And so, if you think about them as a pipeline to employment and to jobs of the future, we talk about the workforce of the future. Well, this is our workforce. So it's extraordinarily important that corporations are engaged with HBCUs and minority serving institutions, provide internships, provide apprenticeships, create that pipeline, a ladder for them to climb into corporate America and to, be impactful citizens in our country. The other part of it, Dennis, is just the value-added research and innovation and knowledge that comes from HBCUs and MSIs. And so we've been working closely trying to bridge that gap. I want companies to look at HBCUs for innovation and research to help solve challenging issues facing business and industry. And then the last point I'll just make is, you look at the endowments of other institutions across America, the reality is HBCU endowments are 7 times smaller on average than non-HBCUs. So there's another opportunity around real investment. You're not just investment in our present, but you're investing in the future for reasons that I just mentioned. So there's a lot of possibilities here. And, I'm leading a lot of that work through the chamber to bring in more of the 3 million companies that we represent and more into these kinds of value-added partnerships.
Virgil, any final thoughts, and how can people register for the town hall coming up on Thursday?
Absolutely. Thank you for this, Dennis. And again, Rick, thank you for your comments. I just really, want people to realize that this is going to be an opportunity to hear from young people in an extraordinarily unique space. You don't really hear major organizations giving a platform like this to young people to give their input and get their perspective. So thank you to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for doing that. Please feel free to register at events.uschamber.com/NextGen 2021. And again, this is going to be an excellent conversation. We have these informed young people giving their perspective on solutions to the policy areas, and it's definitely something you want to tune into. Please join us.
Rick, final thoughts from you?
Be like Virgil. So, this is, Virgil represents, and all of these other amazing students you'll hear from the town hall is just what we are investing in. They're, again, not our future leaders, they're our present leaders. And this platform is so important. Oftentimes, Dennis, we make decisions without the respect and involvement of our young people. And this is an opportunity to hear their solutions to these challenges that we're confronting in America and around the world. So I hope everybody will tune in.
Once again, Next Gen Town Hall, amplifying young and informed, this Thursday, 4 to 5 o'clock. And if you want to sign up and register, events.uschamber.com/NextGen 2021. Rick Wade, Virgil Parker, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
104.7 WONK-FM.